Hello, good afternoon. Can I be heard? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's workshop. I hope I can be heard. Please, if I can be heard, can I see some reactions? Hello, please, can I be heard? All right, thank you very much. Can my screen be seen? All right. Can you let me know if my screen can be seen? With some reactions. All right, thank you so much, Sulaimon. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Tableau Students Workshop. This is something I've been doing for some time, where I gather to share data topics around Tableau, data visualization topics, topics which help students, topics which help even professionals improve upon their data visualization skills, even in their professional life, and we as students, as we use it in our academic research. Our session is being recorded and would be uploaded to my Tableau YouTube channel, which is Elvis the Tableau Evangelist, hopefully before tomorrow or tomorrow latest, so that in case your network breaks or in case you can't make it or in case somebody wants to join but is not able to, the person can follow. Over some time now, I was not really active because of academic exams. The whole of last month, we couldn't have any workshop. But now we are vacated and by the grace of God, there's more time for us to look at more data topics and improve upon our data visualization skills. Today, we are looking at data ethics and responsible data visualization. It's a great and broad topic, but today we'll take it a step at a time for us to understand the whole data ecospace in terms of ethical issues. What is right or wrong when we are drawing our graphs? What is right or wrong when we are doing our data visualization? Should we rush to make some conclusions based on what we are seeing? Or are the graphs we are showing, are they accounting for the differences we claim they are? Are percentage showing the real trends? Can we conclude based on what we are seeing? In today's workshop, we are going to delve deeper into this and take a bold step to look at what this whole data visualization or ethical data visualization or data and responsible data visualization topic is about. Now, to begin, I would like to show us our agenda for today. Today, this is what we're doing. We'll look at a brief intro of what the whole data ethics is about. What is data ethics? Some of us may have heard of data ethics, but what does it really entail? And what is responsible data visualization? When are we supposed to use certain things? So what are some rules which guide us as data professionals when we are making our data visualization? Perhaps you're also an aspiring data analyst and you have been seeing beautiful charts. Are you aware that there are rules which guide the charts we build or the charts we do, and that you can't just take data from anywhere and draw charts and make certain conclusions? Today, we are going to look at all these and talk more about them and how we can pay attention to these rules and make better data visualization. My name is Elvis, so a brief introduction. And Elvis Kabna Nkrumah. I'm a final year student at the University of Ghana, Accra, Legon in Africa, for viewers who are not in this type of geographical area. I'm a final year student reading a combined major of computer science and statistics. Aside that, to professionally, I double as a research and grant intern for the National Society of Black Engineers, the whole Ghana body, where I do some research and some reports for them. Aside that, I'm a data and market research analyst. hoping to branching into marketing data analytics very soon. On my LinkedIn page, I share opportunities in data, and I share opportunities for people to apply in getting free courses and everything. And also, I have a mentee network where I mentor others to also land roles in data. To begin, today, I would like to look at a brief case. In the 2000 election in the United States, it was it's called George Walker Bush and AI Gore. There was a big misconception in the election because there was chaos. Rumors or some visuals were spreading, which was a blue and red map. And people thought their political candidate was winning. Rather, the map was showing the land area, not the population. And this was misleading others. To explain further, we'll look at the charts. And according to this, you'd see that the red colors had a majority. But the fact that there's a lot of red colors doesn't mean that they are winning elections. Possibly, the red zones just show the places that that particular candidate has more votes. And so people thought size of the place where their political candidate was winning or was winning. And this was just for land size. It really didn't account for votes. And so this chart was deceptive, and people thought their candidate was winning. Long down the run, this election ended up in a court case in Florida, and they had to resolve it. Even though now it's a controversial issue, people believe. Now, what do we learn from this? Data visualizations carry power and responsibility. And so, as analysts, as BI professionals, we have to be careful how we represent data. This was the case in the 2000 US election. Today, we are looking at data ethics. Why are we looking at the issue of data ethics, and how is it related to the brief case study we walked through? Now, we have to learn about data ethics because we are in a data-driven world. In the world of AI, we are aware that data is the gold or is the fuel of AI. AI models and systems run on data. And to review insights, data is visualized in the form of dashboard and reports. Now, inaccurate or biased or misleading visuals can harm people. It can lead to wrong conclusions, can deceive people. And so we have to examine these ethical lapses that can lead to misinformation, discrimination, and mistrust. If we look at this, if we are mindful of this, it can help in making better decisions as data professionals and improve us as a whole. Now, aside that, we want to look at what data is. I want to break it down into two parts. Now, data ethics, the term ethic means that doing anything which is absence of bias, absence of discrimination, making sure that the thing is good. People have culturally, morally, and ethically, or people have accepted it as something which is right. Now, when we say data ethics, it means that we are doing the right thing or the good thing with data. And so, as data professionals, how are we obeying these ethical principles? How are we doing the right thing with the data we have collected? For example, you might be working in an organization. How do you ensure that you are showing them the insights the key stakeholders need to drive business decisions? You're a student. How are you showing that what you are doing in the project, your visualization, is conveying the needed information people have to see? Now, that is what the data ethics or the data ethical landscape seeks to talk about. When we do our analysis, are we interpreting it fairly? When we collect the data, are we collecting the data ethically? Or we are just using our mere perception or intuition? When we are representing our data in the form of visualizations, are we representing it truthfully? Now, all these are guided by principles. And so, if you are saying we are demonstrating that data is ethical, visualizations are ethical, one, they have to be transparent, absence of flaws. no bias. 2, accountable. 3, fairness. 4, privacy. And 5, inclusion. Now, we want to look at some of the common ways data visualizations have misled people. That is, things people have done that has led to misinformation. And as data professionals, we are key to business decisions. Anything we do affects the way stakeholders make their decisions. And so we have to make sure that our decisions or our insights we are revealing are really based from the data we have analyzed or the data we have visualized. Now, here are some 5 common ways data is misled. 1, cherry-picked data. Now, in the next few slides, we'll look at example of some of these so that we get a better understanding. Truncated biases, unclear scales or labels, omission of context, overuse of visual elements. Now, I hope we can see my chart here. So this was a chart showed by a news broadcasting agency. Now, according to this chart, I don't know, can my screen be seen?
Yeah, yes, we can see your screen.
All right, thank you. So now, when we examine this, you see that the chart is showing the top tax rates. Now, the problem is with this is that when you check the axis at the right, it is starting from 34, 36, 38, 40, 42. And the problem with this is that the y-axis has been truncated. Now, one problem with truncation is that when you truncate, people don't really see the difference you are trying to convey well. So from here, when you examine, you see that from 35 to 39.6, according to this chart, the gap is quite a huge margin. But when we visualize this, the next chart on the right, the blue chart, I hope you can see it. When you visualize it on a scale from 0 to 45, and you are showing this 35% and 39.6, the gap is very close, and it shows that there's potential for the rates to come higher, or the differences can be really seen better. So truncation really affects how people convey insights. In our Ghanaian ecospace, we say, oh, we are in a comfortable lead. Oh, our graphs are showing that we are leading. And this happens mostly in our elections. But are these graphs really showing the insights which they are supposed to show? And truncation is one thing which limits or inhibits good data analysis, because when you truncate your axis without even letting people know, people are thinking, okay, the gap is okay, we are leading comfortably. But really, when you look at it from a larger scale, or from the right scale, from 0 to where we are, you see that the gap is actually not big, and there's a potential for you to overcome or to you to bridge the gap. And this is one of the issues which people make when it comes to um, data visualizations. Also, let's look at this chart. And can somebody mention one problem we are seeing with this chart? So this chart is a chart showing the number of US Americans with ancestry from every European country. So the number is a number of US citizens from those particular places. Can somebody unmute and try to what do you think the issue with this particular? Anyone can unmute and speak.
Yes, so hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, I think there are no legends. There's nothing to let you know what your data is about, something like that.
All right, great. That's one thing. Anything else? Observe very well. Anyone else can share? All right. I think no one is sharing now. Okay. So now, Bismarck has said one great thing. So that one thing was in terms of legend. Now, if you observe this chart, we don't really know what the red and the other colors mean. So we don't even know what the chart or what the different colors are accounting for. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that the numbers, the numbers being written in the chart is not really the best because some of them are overlapping, some of them are too small, some of them are too big, and people don't what you are trying to convey. What do the numbers even mean? So one thing, the legend, two, the numbers, and the third thing is with the colors. The colors are too much in showing different things. Color differences or contrast is one thing we have to pay attention to as data analysts. Your colors should really show the differences. Like it should really show the differences. Now you see that the background is blue. You don't know whether the background is the sea level or what. And even with the places which have the same colors, what do the colors mean? So you're seeing the multicolored chart, which is not really showing you the insights, which is not showing you the differences. And so this chart is not one of the best, and it doesn't depict or convey the data or the insights which the people or the business or the viewers are supposed to know from watching it. Now, another issue is here. During the recent election between Joe Biden and Trump, that was the not the last election, the one before the recent US election. Now, this is quite a surprising post by Bloomberg. Said President Trump crashes Biden in Pennsylvania. Can anyone unmute and say what type of issue do you think is with this particular chart? And what do you think can be done better? You are free to unmute.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, the color used to represent the two charts are not the red color should not be used for the winning party, I think. So I
All
think
right.
the green would be a better color to use there, and the blue should be like a red or a wine color.
All right. Great. That's a beautiful perspective. Another one is any other person see another difference?
No, no, yeah, but let me just clarify something. My He was saying that the red color should not be used. The red color is not saying it's bad or it's dangerous or something. It's just depicting their party. The blue is also depicting the color of the other party. That's why those colors were used. So just to make that clear for him.
All right. That's a great perspective, Bismarck. Now, with this chart, if you observe, so the red and blue is showing where is showing the political party, Republican and Democrats. So that's the clarification with that one. Now, if you watch this, we are talking about a particular state. That's Pennsylvania, right? Now, in Pennsylvania, we are the data is not the chart is not representing what it's supposed to represent. For example, we are saying that Trump has crashed Biden in Pennsylvania. Now, in Pennsylvania, look at this particular chart well. The difference between the difference between Trump and Biden is just 1%. But this chart doesn't start, we don't have any axis, we don't know the labels, we can't see from zero to the highest, and yet 1% difference is here, as if it's a big difference. And the news is forecasting it as if it is a marginal or a great loss. 1% crashed, but it is just a 1% difference. And so these visualizations, these charts, these things we show must depict the particular information we are trying to convey. And so this is key for us as data analysts. Make sure that when you are doing the charts, make sure that we are doing your visualizations. You are not truncating the axis. Your colors are not bad. The contrast is being shown. And you are not representing data badly. Now, how can we do better data visualizations? What is responsible data visualization. Now, this brings us to the second part of this workshop where we look at what responsible data visualization is all about. Now, when we say responsible, there are some things to be looking about in terms of context, in terms of simplicity, avoiding deception, being transparent, and making sure that the data or the visualization is what? Accessible. Now, when we come to context, we want to provide a background to our visualization. When we are talking about the healthcare sector, we should not be using certain colors. We don't match the background. You know, for healthcare professionals, the colors they mostly use is what? And somebody on meetings.
Green.
Beautiful. So it's either green, some also use blue and white. Now, when you are doing a dashboard for healthcare professionals or a healthcare dashboard, and we are seeing red, blue, we are seeing red, brown, pink, you are not really conveying what people should see. You are not providing a context where, oh, the industry you are talking about, this is some of the colors they use. So your visualization is to provide a background of where they are. Now, when you are showing demographics, let's say people in a particular region, right? The people in a particular region which do something. We are showing demographics. If it is people, let us see that it's people. If it's vegetation, depict vegetation by vegetation, so that people get a real context of what your visualization is all about. Now, simplicity. Simplicity means sometimes we want to put a lot of information in one particular chart, a lot of information in one particular dashboard. Why don't you group the similar characteristics into a particular dashboard and create multiple dashboards to show different key insights? After your KPIs, you can show different charts which seeks to answer different business questions. Aside that, you can ensure that your colors are uniform across these different dashboards. Next point, avoiding deception. We must be careful as data analysts or as aspiring data professionals to avoid the issue of manipulating axes. Now, sometimes it's not our fault. We transform axes. You take the log of your axis, you are showing time data. You take the inverse, you do exponential. Do your best to let individuals know that your charts have been transformed, that your charts have been changed by some mathematical relationship or mathematical statement or model, so that people are able to interpret this data in terms of these key things you have done. If you have increased a particular measure by 1,000, or if a measure is measured in thousands, make sure to let individuals know that for that particular axis, the measure there is in thousands, it's in millions, it's in hundreds. When you do this, people are able to understand the context, and it helps avoid people being deceived. Similarly, for percentages, people should know that if you are showing a percentage on a pie chart, you know, for a pie chart, the total is, if it's degrees, 360 degrees, if it's a percentage, 100%. And so we should not be seeing a pie chart where after adding all the individual pies or segments in that pie chart, the percentage you are getting is greater than 100. It doesn't make sense mathematically. Also, showing that visualizations are transparent. If there are any assumptions, as statisticians, maybe there's assumption you are using, any source, any limitation, do well to indicate it at the bottom of your visualization, so that people get to understand the real issue or the real theories behind what you are showing. Finally, accessibility. As data professionals, do well to ensure that your colors are, the contrast in your colors are clear, because when they are clear, people see the differences very, very well. Now, not all human beings are the same, and we have certain group of individuals who can be colorblind or have red-green color blindness. And so make sure that the color of your fonts, the color of your bars, your charts, your line, any chart you are using, is very distinct so that people can see the differences, people can see the trends, people can see what you are trying to show them very, very well. Now, that's one aspect. Sometimes we make biases in data and design. What are some of these biases? Sampling bias. Does anyone have an idea on what sampling bias is? Anyone can unmute and speak. All right. So when it comes to sampling bias, now this comes in the data collection space or when it comes to designing experiments. Now, for us data analysts, most of the times our data is secondary data. It depends on the industry you're working from. So when I say secondary data, it means data that is not collected fresh. It's not collected just on the spot. Data you have gotten from a place that has been collected already. So historical data, administrative data, data which people have collected from past records. Now, in a case where you are collecting, in quotes, primary data. Now, primary data is the data which is collected inside. So you have designed your survey, you have designed your questionnaire, you have designed the questions, and you are getting the data for yourself. And so it is primary data. Now, for primary data, make sure that the fact that you are using a sample, so you are conducting a study. For example, you are conducting a study of university students who have high GPAs. So since you can't collect everybody data from the whole student population, you take a sample. Now, as you are taking a sample from the population to infer for the population or to do analysis and interpret in terms of the population, there is a kind of bias because you are not using the whole people, but you want to conclude for them. And that's what sampling bias is. So you have to account for the fact that you are not using the whole population and that a sample of the population is being used. And that's how the issue of sampling and bias is all about. And so making sure that this bias in data and design doesn't affect your visualization. You indicate, you question your thoughts, your method, your motivation, so that these biases don't occur. Confirmation bias. You have done your analysis. Just because you are seeing some trends doesn't necessarily infer that the conclusion is solely dependent on the variables or the predictors you were observing. Also, cultural bias. In some countries, some colors or some figures or some numbers are seen as, in quotes, bad numbers or evil numbers or numbers they don't like culturally. For example, if you come to Ghana, not in terms of numbers, but in Ghanaians, our culture, we don't like using our left hand to greet people. We don't like using our left hand to salute others. Now, in terms of data, if you go to some regions in Europe, there are some numbers which people don't like because in the past, issues have happened which they don't like that number. For example, if you ask Christians about the number 666, we all don't like 666 because we believe it's the number of the Antichrist. So when you are representing these type of visualizations and you are making your insights, be careful to pay attention to the cultural landscape or ecosystem of the place. So when you're accounting for differences, you state your differences clear, and the colors you use should be colors that the people are okay with. It's inclusive. It's not something they don't really connect with. Finally, algorithmic bias. So this comes in the way that our programmers program how our data should be collected. The data being collected, is it only data from a particular space? Yes, yet we want to use it to conclude for another set of people. For example, there was a large issue with a machine learning model in which the data which was used to train the model was data on whites or people from the white race. Yet the full-scale application was launched for the whole world, and it was being biased to applicants who are having black names or anything black in their resumes. It was a resume scanner. And so we have to pay attention to all these things so that when we are using this data collected for our insights, we are not biased. I hope we are all okay. Now, the next thing we want to look at is when ethics were ignored. So, cases that data or uh, dashboards were not really accounting for what they were. Now, in the past years, COVID struck, and we regularly we're receiving prompts on the trends, how many people have gotten COVID, how many have died, and all this. Now, some of these visuals were misleading because, according to the healthcare ecospace, before one person is diagnosed of COVID, there have to be some tests, they have some symptoms. But sometimes this data was not being represented well. The fact that somebody has been, in quotes, isolated in a place doesn't necessarily mean that the person is having the disease. Probably they are observing to see whether the person will show more symptoms or show severe symptoms. Yet some of these individuals were counted as people who had the symptoms. All these things show us that sometimes as data professionals, we must be careful of the visuals we create from the data we have. We must seek to understand the data, understand what the data means, so that we can present better visuals for individuals to get insights from. Also, there comes with the Cambridge analytical case. Fast forward to a housing bias dashboard and others. You can check this online. I'll share the slides to the page. Now, what must we do as data professionals? How can we become better visualization experts? How can you become better when it comes to your visualization? For some of us, for me, example, before becoming a data analyst, you might have some experience in graphic design, or you might have some experience designing something. And so you would want to add some of these principles to data visualization. Not all are bad, but sometimes we should remember that our visualizations must not be necessarily beautiful. I come again. Our visualizations must not be necessarily beautiful, in quotes, but they must be, in quotes, insightful. They must reveal insights. We should not be seeing only beautiful color combinations, but people should be seeing the differences clear. And how do I know this? When I see a chart, I ask myself two questions. When your eyes sets on a particular chart, are you able to interpret it within the next 1 or 2 minutes? Or it will take time for you to look at some things, read through. If you are looking and reading through more than 2 minutes, your dashboard has not done its job. So please, as data professionals, dashboards or charts which are insightful, not necessarily beautiful. Now, remember that it's humans who are going to be who are going to be driving insights from this dashboard. And so your visualization itself should be a voice for truth and integrity. Think about the impact it will have on us. If you are deceiving us with a particular dashboard or data, people are going to accept that assumption and it will affect their lives. And so we should understand that we should be human-centered when building our dashboards. The data you are having, for example, as you might be a professional in the hospitality ecospace or even in the healthcare sector, your data is about human beings. And so any mistake, any negative impact you are showing on your dashboard can lead to bad decisions. And in the healthcare sector, any mistake you make, which you are not careful of, people are losing their lives. So we do our best to make sure that we are using our good ethical use of our data. Our data is inspiring ethical thinking. Again, our data is inspiring ethical thinking. Make sure that although you have a design background, you are not only showing a chart which is necessarily beautiful, but your chart should review, your chart should speak for itself. You don't have to necessarily write a paragraph beneath your chart for somebody to understand what's happening. No, it should be self-explanatory. It should be insightful, not necessarily beautiful. Now, to conclude, as data professionals, we encourage ourselves to join communities so that we learn more about this ethical toolkits and guidelines. And one of the most popular data data or data communities is Data Visualization Society. This society, I'm actually a member for myself, and it's great. It's a US-based organization where they do a lot of works. They have we have type of subscription for members, paid members, non-paid, and it's really good. Competitions come, you see different charts people are doing, you see competition working on. And as a data analyst, to improve upon your data skills, these things help a lot because you improve upon your skill set and you become a better person in terms of your data visualization skills. Now, one of these bodies is Data Visualization Society. They have an ethics guide. You can check them on the internet, which guides how they do their work. Also, Data Ethics Canvas. This is by ODI. You can check them out. Tableau too has its data ethics guidelines, which guide how we do our visualizations, how we use Tableau for good. Aside that, uh, we can also make use of colorblind simulators. Can get a lot online and accessibility tools. Now, as data analysts or visualization experts, keep this in mind. Build better, show better, and be better. Build better, show better, and be better. Why do we say this? When we are building our charts, one, or ask yourself, is this fair? Is this honest? Probably you are working on election data. Your data is going to affect how, or you're working on election data for a news broadcasting agency. Your data is going to affect how people see election trends. Data is going to let somebody sit somewhere and say, oh, we are winning the election. Oh, we are in a comfortable lead. We are doing this and that. Is your data fair? Is your data honest? Are you really showing the insights which people should see? As I mentioned earlier in the US 2000 US presidential election, that was a big case then, and it affected how people saw the election. Somebody called to say, "Oh, I'm conceding," but yet he later came out for a court case because he didn't believe some of the results, and some of this was due to wrong data visualizations. And so we should be clear as data professionals to champion ethical practices in our community and our professions. We should start conversation on responsible data in dashboard challenges. And overall, we should ensure that we are building better, we are showing better, and we are being better. Now, let's build a more ethical data well. What is one thing you will do differently after this session? So anyone can unmute and speak. We are almost done with our session. You can ask any questions and we are done. So what will you do better differently after this session? Please, anyone can unmute and speak. After all what you have learned, so what are some of your key takeaways from today's session?
Hello.
Yes, please, you can speak.
Yes. So you mentioned that data ethics is about doing what is right, following the guidelines, guiding data. So from this presentation, I know that, okay, so next time I have to cross-check my source. Is my data credible? Is it reliable? Is there any bias? I'll need to cross-check all these things before going deep into now creating my visualizations. And with that, you mentioned that you have to your visualizations should tell the story. It should not be too complex. There should be simplicity so that when someone sees it, he understands it. You also, from the chart you showed, there were no legends to describe what your chart is showing. What are the colors representing? Is when you have a red color, is it that is good? When you have a blue color, is it that it's, what does the colors mean? Like, because my I don't know if I remember his name. He said about the colors of Trump and then that. So something like that. When you explain that this color is not saying that red, so it's bad, or blue, so it's not good. It's showing that okay, so this color is for this party, this color is for that. So when someone sees your chart or your dashboard or your visualization, you know that okay, yeah, so this is what it means, this is that. So these are the things we look at when moving forward in our career or careers.
All right. Thank you so much, Bismarck. And does anyone have anything else to say? You can share insights. What's one thing you do differently? You can type in the chat if your network is not really good. Also, if you have any questions, probably I said something you want to get more insights on, or there's a question you want to put in front, there's something you want to explain, there's an addition you want to make, please feel free to unmute and speak.
Yeah, yes, I just want to throw more light on the confirmation bias. It seems like you didn't really talk much about it. So confirmation bias sounds like okay, so you have your data and then you already have something in mind that this data is supposed to tell me something, or this is what I'm supposed to, these are the insights I want to derive from this data. So these are your existing knowledge. This is what you want to get, right? So confirmation bias now that you are going to try and analyze your data in such a way that it will um, go hand in hand with what you had in mind before you started. I don't know if um, I'm making sense here.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's a brilliant addition. You having an assumption of what you want to see already before doing your chart. That's
Yes.
that's that's a great addition there. Anyone else who has an addition, you can feel free. Bismarck, is that all, or you want to say something else?
Yeah, that's all.
All right, thank you. Anyone, Jesse, Gerald, anyone, if you have any additions, Abdullah, any addition you want to add, any question you want to ask, one thing you have learned or you do differently after this session, you can speak. All right. Thank you all for making time to join today's session. I think we have come to the end of today's insightful session. There has been a Google form sent to our page. Please let's do well to fill the attendance form so that I can prepare better workshops next time. I can improve. I can also log my activity as a Tableau ambassador. Also, I'll share the link to this. I'll share the slides to our community page. So I think Audrey will send the link to our community page. So there's a Tableau Ghana academic community where for students who are interested in data analytics, I share more about Tableau, data insights, data events happening. Do well to join the community. Let's be interactive. Let's join. Let's make our roadmap to becoming data analysts better. Don't wait till your final year after school to start your data journey. You can start now. You can start any money now. You can start becoming who you want to become. It's just starting right and you learning the basic data tools you need. Now, I'll use some few minutes to talk about what Tableau is for people who are just joining today's session. So Tableau is a data visualization tool. For some of us, we have heard about Excel. We have used Excel to do some charts before. So Tableau is a software similar to Excel, but Tableau is just a business intelligence tool. It's just used for building charts, reports, dashboards. So that's what makes it unique. Now, as data analysts, or if you're aspiring to be a data analyst, we have process we use in data analysis. And we have data cleaning, a lot of things, data reporting, data visualization. In the data visualization step, there are certain softwares you can use. So the most popular one is Power BI. That's by Microsoft. Microsoft Power Business Intelligence tool. Also, the second widely used BI tool in the world is Tableau. Tableau was a research project by some PhD candidates in the US, and over the long run, they partnered with Salesforce, and now we are leading in the world's data visualization ecospace. Because when you talk about the top visualization tool, you cannot forget Tableau. Tableau is being used by top companies in the world, Bank of America, aviation companies, different organizations are using Tableau. If you're a data analyst, I always advise my mentees, learn 1, 2 for each process. This is your data cleaning. You can learn SQL. When it comes to your data visualization, as an ambassador, I'll say, take some few months to learn more about Tableau. Build some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dashboards and become a better data analyst when it comes to data, data visualization. In the subsequent week, I'll work on how we can get Tableau for free as students, how you can use Tableau public, everything. I think I have to do some short videos so that students get to understand this whole data visualization thing. Thank you all so much for joining today's session. I am Elvis Asar Nkrumah. I think I did a brief intro at the beginning, but just then, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. Talk to me. You want some help with Tableau, you are seeing something, you want to talk about it, you don't know how to begin your journey. I am there for you. I can help you, I can guide you. I have a mentees network. So begin your journey now. Join our Tableau Ghana academic community. I think the link should be shared very soon into our chat. Then please fill the form. Okay, so the link has been shared already. I'll share it again for those of us who recently joined. So yes, the link has been resent again. So let's do well to join the community, share the resources I share on the page, encourage your friends. Let's learn more about Tableau. Let's become better data analysts. Thank you all so much for making time for today's session, and I'm grateful for your time. If you have any questions, kindly let me know, or any concern. If not, we call it an evening. Thank you all so much for joining.
Thank you, boss.
All right. In absence of any questions, have a great evening.